Welcome to the hottest movie review on the internet today, the A-List Review. I am your host, the Game Changer, Wes Troop. And as you can see, it's time to go back to the theater. And ladies and gentlemen, this past weekend, a new film came out starring Harrison Ford and a CGI dog. Well, this should be interesting. My review of the 2020 family adventure, The Call of the Wild, coming up now. Set in the late 19th century during the Gold Rush, Buck, a large St. Bernard Scotch Collie mix, is taken from his home in Santa Clara, California, and shipped to the Yukon. Buck is sold to a man named Perrault and his assistant Francoise, and joins a team of sled dogs to deliver mail across the Yukon. After some time, Buck finds himself going between owners until finally being looked after by a caring, aging man named John Thornton. Buck and John end up traveling beyond the Yukon map where they can live free in the wild. But danger awaits the duo as they go on their adventure. So what did I think of The Call of the Wild? I thought it's a mediocre and schmaltzy family adventure film. Of course, it's based on the 1903 Jack London novel of the same name. I've never read the novel, but know many hold it in high regard. The story from the book still comes through and makes for some worthwhile moments, even if this isn't the greatest adaptation of the tale. When I saw the trailer for the film, I cringed at the special effects that were being used on Buck. Seeing it in full on the big screen made it look even worse. Buck and the other animals are all CG that look way over the top. There were moments that looked good, but sometimes it just came off as awful and really kept taking me out of the film. I understand why CGI motion capture came into play, as some of the elements that these animals go through can be tough. I think they could have used real animal actors for the non-intense scenes, however. There are some interesting things going on throughout, like Buck dealing with an alpha dog trying to put him in his place, a couple encounters with a bear, saving a few lives, both animal and human, and a trip on a canoe down some rapids. One of the main highlights is Buck at the head of the dog sled as they try to avoid a falling avalanche, which looks pretty cool. The story between Buck and John can be pretty heartfelt and even emotional at times. Buck goes through the ringer during his journey, so we really root for him and want to see him get his happy ending. A number of characters come and go through the film as they interact or become Buck's master at the time, and unfortunately, the villain here ends up coming back into the story way more than needed. These hokey, cartoonish villains go way over the top, with the main one, Hal, looking like a Snidely Whiplash knockoff and causing some unintentional laughter. It also makes good actors such as Dan Stevens or Karen Gillan overacting way too much. The cast stars Harrison Ford, hands down the best part of the film, as John Thornton, the man who went out to live in the woods because his past was too hard to handle. Dan Stevens as Hal, the snobbish twit looking for gold who almost becomes a psychopath as the story plays out. Omar Sy as Perrault, the postal delivery man who buys Buck, and Cara G as Francoise, Perrault's assistant and fellow mail carrier. The Call of the Wild has some sweet moments and means well, but the digital dogs become too distracting, and as an adaptation of the classic, feels more like a misstep. I'm gonna give it the rating of meh. It's okay. Alright, well that's the show. I'll be back with another review very soon. But until then, don't forget to subscribe right here on YouTube. youtube.com/westside515. Like the show on Facebook, facebook.com/WesTroopAlist. And of course, you can follow me on the Twitter and the Instagram @WesAlist. Until next time, Troop out.